The People First podcast is a show presented by people with disabilities, all our friends and community. We take about issues that are important to us and interview people to thirst out name information. This is our way to make a difference and have our voices heard.
Hello and welcome to the People First podcast. On this week's podcast, we are talking to Adam and Alex from the band the Tenmours, who have come to talk to us about the music they produce. We're very excited to talk to them, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Tom. You all know me by a different guise usually. Usually I'm podcast lead Adam, but today I'm Adam from the Tenmours, and I've got alongside me my bandmate Alex.
Hello everyone, I'm Alex Johnston Seymour. I'm been in a band with Adam for quite some time now, and I'm very happy to be here with People First.
It's the same man, Adam. You're no one else. It's the same man we know. It's just that we want to interview you and your band colleague.
Well, I hope I'm the same, Luke. I hope I'm interesting and fun to be around, and I hope I can answer all your questions. We can have a bit of fun.
It'll certainly be different for you.
We will. You'll love it. How long have you been playing in the band, and how did the band start?
So, I think there's two different stories here, guys, because I joined the band when I was at university, so I met Alex just before university, and we kind of joined together in the Tenmours very soon afterwards. I was actually playing in a different band. First we were playing in a rock group, and then Alex came along one day and said, "Have you ever played in a folk band?" And I said, "No, but sure, I'll give it a go, why not?" And it's been a good, almost probably 7 or 8 years since then, and we're still here, still playing together. But Alex, I think you'll be able to let us know about how the band first actually started.
Oh yes. Well, as one is growing up in the world of music, you kind of know who you're searching for. You're searching for someone who is similar to you, who wants to play some interesting music, but also write together, to grow together. And when you're young, you don't always know exactly what the most healthy way forward is. So I was at the Leeds College of Music, and I met a very strange but also exceptionally talented person called Ross, and we ended up writing together, getting the train from Skipton to Leeds together, and we did a couple of years of kind of growing up in music. And then when we arrived at the Leeds College of Music University, and Ross went to Glasgow, and Adam arrived, and I kind of we ended up playing together just naturally, but also we had two musical identities. We had Adam's love for rock and classic rock, and I have the same, but then I think both of us were very happy to challenge ourselves to do a music that was unidentifiable, and that's what's led us to where we are now.
What sort of music did you play?
So, as I said in the last question, we started out as what I would kind of call a folk band. So we played with a violin, a guitar and a drum, and we played quite fast-paced but traditional folk. And then over the years, as the band's changed and developed, and me and Alex have changed as people, different members have come and left the band, and they've brought their own styles. We've kind of turned into more of a rocky group, but with a lot of different elements that you don't usually hear in rock. So kind of what we best call ourselves now is kind of like an alternative band. Mm-hmm. And we also like to kind of define ourselves by what we sing our music about. Mm. And we like to sing music that's got a message, rather than just songs about kind of some things that you hear, songs about girls, songs about being happy and having fun, which is great, but we like to write songs about things that are really important to us. And at the moment, that's a lot of stuff around protest and eco-activism and equality and those kind of really important issues to us.
Yeah, I think you've very much nailed what has happened to us recently, which is that I think we've discovered, as many people and many artists discover, which is that the best way to be an artist is self-discovery, to challenge yourself. And I think we've challenged ourselves and really trusted our hearts as to what is important. And what is important isn't necessarily what is important is to not constrict yourself, to not be stuck in a box, to not be stuck in Dremel, but to allow yourself to be free, to explore, to challenge, to make mistakes, and equally to be very different from everybody else, because everyone is different. Genre is a really interesting conversation these days, because what Adam is very eloquently saying is that we don't necessarily say what sort of music we're playing, because everyone is their own sort of music. So what we can relate to is that we are activists or people who write about current world issues, because we are human and everyone cares about those things. And because we care about those things, we think it's important that we do write about those things and give our perspective to the people who follow us.
What gigs have you played at?
Well, we've played a lot of gigs over the years, both big and small. Some of the biggest gigs that we've done, we played at Leeds Fest just before COVID. We've played at Trinity Church in Leeds with another artist called John Gom, who's a friend of ours. We played a really big gig at the Conservatoire in Leeds.
Yeah, in 2017.
With Sheila MacDonald, who's a folk singer from the 60s and 70s. We've done some gigs as part of our protests. We played outside the Houses of Parliament in London, which was when the London Marathon was on, and we were singing our songs about eco-activism outside of Parliament to make the politicians pay attention.
Which they didn't.
But you know, we keep trying, don't we?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably the biggest ones. Are there any others that stand out to you, Alex?
Well, I think it's weird how over the years gigs have, very often the most exciting ones show up very unannounced, always last minute, always require us to accomplish lots of things in a very small space of time, like getting our hair done and travelling long distances. And
for those of you who don't have visual representations of me and Alex has a lot of hair, I have very little.
But you know, your tech, your guitars, your outfits, your hair, and organisation in a really short space of time really challenges you to do very crazy things over short periods of time that are newsworthy, that are exciting, and you know, people find that exciting, and sometimes I find it very stressful, but I almost always find they are the most interesting when they show up last minute. I love that sort of challenge.
The very first gig that me and Alex ever played together, we got to, just before on stage, we said we've got to do something like rock and roll. So we put on all this black eyeliner.
Yeah.
But then of course we went on stage and sweated, so when we came off it looked like we were pandas because our eyes were just huge and black.
Was it that hot?
It was very hot when we were on stage, under the lights and jumping around.
Oh, I wouldn't like that.
No, we all needed big breath of fresh air afterwards.
And
Luke.
a bath.
A hot bath.
Yeah.
I know how you feel, because I've done a couple of shows myself, so...
Oh, cool.
Tom does acting.
Acting?
Yeah, I've recently just done one, I think it were last week.
What show was it, Tom?
Were Pied Piper of Hamelin.
I've never heard of that show, but I mean, what sort of role did you play?
It was the mayor. It was just at a local theatre group, wasn't really like at Victoria Hall.
Not yet, anyway, Tom.
No.
Have you played with anyone famous like Maddie Pryor or Fairport Convention or the Seekers or anyone like that?
It's funny you should mention Maddie Pryor because, well, I mean, I actually know Maddie Pryor a little bit. I've met her over a few occasions, and each time I felt like I've got a different side of Maddie. Me and Adam both met her for the first time at a gig where we were supporting her, and that had a lot of memorable moments, and it was very exciting. But then the second time was just at a party where she was chatting to me about how excited she was about The Voice and her current project called Maddie Pryor and Forgotten Lands.
One person that always sticks out to me, so I mentioned Leeds Fest and we were playing on the alternative stage, which is quite a lot of different things happen on that stage, it's not just music. So we finished playing and then a comedian called Ed Gamble came on just afterwards, and he's fairly well known, he's on the telly and stuff. And like the first thing he said when he came out was, "Did you see the singer in that band? He looked like a hippie Jesus, or with the long hair and the beard."
Yeah,
So I thought that was a claim to fame, Alex, that you've been called Hippie Jesus by Ed Gamble.
I remember he cracked a joke about the heat as well, because he remarked about my hair and beard at the time, and was just like, if I had all that hair, I'd probably be off to the barbers. Something along those lines. I'm probably executed far better because I'm not a comedian. But yeah, I suppose in terms of famous people, there's been, John Gom. He was famous when we met him, but he has since become really, really huge and has won countless awards. He's been voted in the world's best acoustic guitar artist by I can't even remember what magazine. Lots of magazines, and he's been touring with Joe Quayle recently. But yeah, John Gom is probably one of the most famous people we've connected with.
What's your favourite song to play?
That's a really good question, because we've played so many songs over the year, Jane, that it's difficult to pick just one. I think I always find one of the most exciting moments is when you play a new song in front of an audience for the first time. And we've played a lot of new songs recently because we write a lot. Because I think that first time where you've got a bit of nerves over how is it going to go and how are people going to like it, and then when you get to the end and people do appreciate it, then that's a really nice feeling inside that you've done something new and it's gone down really well. I don't think there's any particular song that I love playing, because I think all of our songs have got their own little different space in our set, and I think if you took any of them out, you'd worry. Sometimes when we have to do a shorter set, we sit there for hours and we think, oh, well, we have to play that one, but we don't have time to play that one, but we'll find a way to get it in the set anyway. So it's very difficult sometimes to write set lists.
Yeah. I think also, in terms of answering what's your favourite song to play, quite often, like Adam says, it is a new thing, but it's very much in its newest form. When you've just written it and you're really excited about it, and you're getting all of the feelings are new and explosive. So, say at the moment I've just written a new song, and I'm quite excited about it because it's simple, and I've written very few simple songs over the years, and I was very, to be honest, I'm always excited to share them with Adam, because that has been the genesis of our connection over the years. It always feels like the first time we played together when we're playing each other new songs. So, that would be my answer, is the most recent song.
What's your least favourite song to play?
Any of the songs that Alex writes. I'm joking. No, it's again a really good question, because I think songs are a little bit like your children, where you don't want to pick a favourite and you also don't really want to pick a least favourite either. I think it's maybe you could say a least favourite song is one that is kind of the opposite of what we said was the favourite. Maybe it's one that's been in the set for a little bit too long, and it maybe isn't changing and developing anymore, and it just feels like it's a good song, and we'll put that one in because people know it. We like to pick the songs that we want to play rather than what we think other people will want to hear. So I think maybe I might look at a song sometimes and go, ooh, I'm not so sure we're playing that because we're really enthusiastic. We might just be playing it because it might suit the people we're seeing and we're not that happy with it.
I think actually one of the songs that was quite successful when we first released it was Moving On from the Maze EP, and I think I knew what it was about at the time, so I quite enjoyed it, but these days I felt like I lost the meaning or lost a connection with the meaning, didn't know why people liked it, and have asked that question for a long time. So for a long time that has been one that I've not been interested in playing, but actually recently I discovered anew what the song is about with regards to today for me, and that's been really interesting. So I'd probably be interested in playing it again, but that was a song that I wasn't that I didn't like for a long time because I just lost that connection with it.
Do you know any other bands who have people with learning disabilities, and do you think it's important to have people with disabilities in bands?
So I remember a few years ago, it might have been 2022 now, we interviewed the band Ultimate Thunder. Do you guys remember that interview? Were you involved with that one?
Yeah. Don't seem that long ago, actually.
Was I there? I can't remember.
So they're a group which is entirely made up of people with learning disabilities and their support staff who help them go to gigs and get prepared to go on stage and stuff. And that was a really interesting interview because it shows you, as kind of the second part of this question is, how important it is that anyone has the opportunity to play music. Because I think what music offers to you has got nothing to do with who you are, because it offers something different to every single person. To some people it's just having a good time and enjoying, and that could be so important for someone with a disability. It could be that it helps you express your feelings, and that could be important to someone with a disability. It equally could be important for someone without a disability. Part of the thing that makes music so amazing is that it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you look like, who you love. It's the same with all of us. We all can come together and kind of appreciate a love of music or dance or expressing ourselves and be together in that moment.
Just to add to that, recently I watched a fantastic TV show called The Piano. And
wasn't that on Channel 4 and there was that girl in Leeds or something?
Yes, there was a local Leeds pianist with, I think, cerebral palsy,
who
won the show outright and played in the grand finale in the presence of Lang Lang. And she was absolutely outstanding, and I thought that her talent really came out as well. Obviously, in her, it was actually the relationship she had with her piano teacher, and that was beautiful in itself. He accompanied her on stage, and she kind of moved on stage, and I feel like that was very much an expression of being herself and allowing her body to feel the music, and I think everyone really understood that. It was really, really awesome.
What's the furthest gig you have played?
The furthest gig I've played was in the Republic of San Marino, which is on the west coast of Italy. I played at a competition called Tour Music Fest, which is a European music contest. I was the UK national finalist at the competition, and so yes, I played in San Marino, which is a fortified city, and in a big theatre, and it was very surreal, and that was probably the furthest. But even though that's the furthest, and it did feel very far, sometimes when you've travelled around, even in the UK, like when me and Adam played in the south of England, or even in Scotland, but mainly in the south of England, sometimes you can play places that are so remote that it feels really, really far from home.
Yes, I remember we went up to Lanarkshire, which is in Scotland. That felt a long way away. We also did some playing in Brighton, and again that's London and plus a little bit more. And we played 2 gigs on the south coast, so that felt a very long way away, definitely.
I think there's an element of being on the train, which because we try and travel as sustainably as possible, and usually that's by train. And I think that when you've journeyed really far and spent a long time on the train, it makes you feel like it's a lot further.
Have you recorded any albums, or are you planning to for the future?
I think we'd love to do an album at some point in the future. As of right now, we haven't actually got a full album, because albums are really expensive to produce, and because of things like streaming, nowadays you don't actually make a lot of money from albums.
You don't.
It's a couple of percentage of a pence per stream, unfortunately. So at the moment we are releasing singles, and we have an EP that we released a few years ago. So they're shorter. An EP is like a mini album, 5 songs.
Got a miniature album.
Yeah.
Like a bit like an album.
Similar.
Are those songs you played live?
And they're songs that we were playing live all the time when we released that CD. We play some of them still in our concerts now.
Yes.
At the moment, what we've been doing is we've been releasing a lot of singles. So they're just 1 songs. So what we like doing is we take one of those new songs that we were talking about before, and one that feels right, and one that feels ready, and then we'll go and we'll just record that and release it. So in the last couple of months, we've released songs called We Are Listening.
Yeah.
Or originally it was called the Ukraine Song.
Yes.
And a little bit before that, we released a song called Eco Freak.
Eco Freak.
Yeah, and those 2 songs are very different. One of them's like a ballad on piano, and the other's like a rock song. So I think again that shows that our music's always very different to
We've
itself.
got another one coming up as well.
And yes, maybe we can reveal exclusively on the People First podcast.
Yeah.
Please.
Hey, this sounds interesting.
Hey,
Well, actually, you'll be the first to hear that very recently we voted of all the songs that we have to release which one it was going to be. And actually, we had a unanimous vote, and we're going to be releasing it hopefully in the next month or 2. And it's called One with This World.
One with this world.
Sounds
Is
interesting.
that one as in the number 1 or WON?
Well, you're not far. It's kind of to be at one or to be connected with.
Oh, that's awesome! When's it out?
I don't think we have a release date quite yet.
It's very new.
It's literally the last month we've started putting plans in motion for this. But what I'll be able to do is when it comes out, I'll make sure all the podcast team get a chance to hear it.
Definitely.
We'd love to hear it.
We can maybe get a review.
Yes,
yeah.
a review would be fantastic.
We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah. What are your plans for the future?
So, Alex mentioned a new project that we've been working on recently. So that's a project with choirs. So the single that we've just released, We Are Listening, a friend of ours decided to make a new arrangement for that song to be sung with like big choirs of 50, 60, 70 people. And yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Right?
And that's what we're working on at the moment. We're trying to get as many choirs interested in singing that song as we can. I think we've already got 4 or 5 who are interested, and 2 who are definitely going to be performing it.
That'd be fantastic.
And it will be premiered at the Middlesbrough Town Hall at the Shine Choir Festival on the 28th, I think, of February. And I think we're both going to go and be present and potentially perform. But, details of that are emerging as we speak. But that's very exciting, so that'll be the premiere.
I was glad to hear that.
then, of course, we've got the new single. And after that, I think it's just world domination, Alex.
World
To
domination.
space.
Up to space, maybe, yeah. Up to space, that'd be cool.
I think, actually, in terms of plans for the future, I'm not very good at plans for the future. I feel like I get quite anxious thinking about the future, especially as it's always quite a lot to try and deal with what's going on today and what's going on tomorrow. But I still feel like I feel excited about the future when we talk about the choir, when we talk about writing songs, when we talk about the things that are true to us, and not getting not getting too bogged down in business, not getting too bogged down in many things that swallow our energy and our creative energy. When I think about the things that are creative and true to who we really are at heart, those are the things that make me feel confident about the future.
And a little bit on a personal note, Alex doesn't mind me mentioning it. Alex has recently got engaged.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that, Adam. Yes.
So that's congratulations in order.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Alex, and I hope you had and have a very happy engagement and marriage, and all the best to you in your life.
Thank you, Luke.
And we would like to come to a band gig someday.
Yeah.
It will. Do you know how loud to play to people? Because some people don't like it too loud, and it's.
So what we do is we always work with an engineer whose job it is to look after the sound, and they're an expert in setting the levels. So like Oliver here on the desk doing our tech work today, he sets the levels of our podcast to make sure that when people listen to it, it's not too loud and it's not too quiet. We'll have someone like that at a gig with us.
And we would really love to have you. Of course, you are totally welcome to come, and we will, I'm very, I care deeply about people's hearing, and I'm always anxious about looking after our eardrums, because me and Adam, they are probably one of our most prized possessions, and if you do come, then maybe we can try and sort something special to make sure your hearing is looked after.
If people want to get more information, where can they get it?
So, we can divert you to our website. If you search for The Tenmours, you'll be able to find us on there. We've also got a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a Twitter page.
Recently started a TikTok.
You'll be able to find loads of videos. You can find some on YouTube as well if you search for The Tenmours. You'll be able to find videos, some photos from gigs that we've done, a little bit of information about some stuff that's coming up. You can always find our music as well on iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, Amazon Music, all the usual places that you would find your streaming music. But of course you can just reach out to us. You can find our email address on our website and shoot us an email if you've got any questions, or if you're interested in us coming to a venue near you. Go and say hi and say, oh, I'd love if you played here.
I just want to say to Alex a big thank you for coming in today to be on our podcast. And also a big thank you to Adam, who we have worked with for nearly 2 years now, for allowing him the chance to come.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for having me on in this context, Luke. I was really enthusiastic when you said that you were interested in talking to my band. Have you got anything else you'd like to add, Alex?
Also, to everyone in the studio, you've all done a fantastic job. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for being such fabulous hosts and for asking us about our music. I hope you've enjoyed picking our brains and our history and things. And
oh, we've loved it. We thoroughly enjoyed it.
Kept you on your toes.
I'm always on my toes working here, Tom. You know that. Right. Thank you.
And now a special treat. It's happened before. I think Alex is going to provide us with a goodbye song. Enjoy.
that's making me feel down, Something is telling me I'm just a stupid idiot or just easy going. Do you think there's something more? Don't you find me interesting at all? Yeah. Something in the wind is making me feel down, I might just go to sleep. It's been a day of endless depression. What am I doing? Do you think there's something more? Don't you find me interesting at all? Come on, Adam, let's take an all day. 'Cause I'm feeling down. All I want's for you to love me today. I'll be fine tomorrow. All I want's for you to love me today. Yeah. Woo. Come on, Alan. Something in the wind is making me feel down, I might just go to sleep. It's been a day of endless depression. What am I doing? Do you think something more? Don't you find me interesting at all? 'Cause I'm feeling down. All I want's for you to love me today. Oh, I'll be fine tomorrow. All I want's for you to love me today. Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah, one more time. Cause I'm feeling down. All I want's for you to love me today.
Join in if you want, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
I'll be fine tomorrow. All I want's for you to love me today. 'Cause I'm feeling down. All I want's for you to love me today. Ooh, yeah. I'll be fine tomorrow.
All I want's for you to love me today.
Oh, thank you.
Great.
What a lovely song. Now,
Yeah, it was good.
That song. It was fantastic.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Remember to comment, like, share on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can find it by searching People First Podcast. Thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.